So last time I was with Preston, I mentioned that we had time for conversation alone, and he said, I was trained by the Jesuits in tantric energy type thing. And it was interesting in a discussion with Preston. One of the things he had to do during the Montauk years, when they were sending these kids off through time, they'd pop them in this chair and in this equipment, and bingo, off they go. Some of them came back. And when they did, they were pretty fractured. They've been in several dimensions, a number of places, in a number of different time zones. And when Preston needed to reassemble their consciousness, what he was using was tantric energy. He was trained as a young man by the Jesuits.
You do this program, and in the research I've done over 5 years or more on the Montauk Boys program, some very startling information has come to light since 1998, wherein the Air Force broke into some of the underground bases on Long Island, took all the documents and dossiers and personnel, and through various channels started investigating who's really running this program. What we found out at that point was rather startling. We always assumed it was a government program. It is not. It's privately run. Started by the Germans, but taken over by others, or perhaps the Germans were being controlled and steered in this manufacturing of this program. And it appears that this is a program which is involving religious groups, ones who would never suspect, such as the Knights of Malta, various groups of monks.
In Terry Cassidy's interview, why is it, sir, that every time the Luciferian or satanic thing comes up in regards to the Catholic Church, you seem to back off from that? It's something that, it bothers me because, clearly there's, I think the evidence is overwhelming to support that claim that there is that faction within there. And so I'm just wondering why you don't go on record saying that is the case.
I can't go on record saying that's the case because in my experience, the Roman Catholic faction of the CIA that I was dealing with as a child were not Luciferians. They were basically Knights. They were Knights Templar. I'm not saying
you were Knights Templar. I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, distinguishing. This is a matter of logic.
I guess there's just clarification there. It's a misunderstanding. You weren't saying that those factions don't exist.
No. I mean, in saying that something existed
with them. Okay.
I was a child participant. I wasn't conscripted. I'm saying that the Catholics that I knew in Project Pegasus were not Satanists or Luciferians or anything. They were basically obsessively devout Catholics who were secretly aligned with a sovereign Vatican military order known as the Knights Templar. And that organization has been obscured, for example, in Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, where he says it's something completely different.
No, I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Is there a Jesuit connection here?
There wasn't a Jesuit connection to Pegasus, but when we had our training at the Learning Lab level, where they were putting basically the history of society and the history of science from the year 1450, which is the High Renaissance. That's the time of Galileo, for example. That curriculum was called Galileo, and we were studying that on these photo learning machines called tachistoscopes. They were designed by the Office of Naval Research and then built at the Edison Labs, where my father had worked from 56 to 64. At the bottom of a number of those curricula were curriculum components was the initials SIV, which stands for Society Intelligentsia Vaticano. The Vatican Intelligence Service was training the children on Pegasus. So I can only give the data points that I can confirm. It's possible that, let's say, somebody like a John McCone was not just a devout, a deeply devout Catholic and a member of the Knights Templar. He may have been at a higher level of immersion in the most esoteric occult things that the church has ever been accused of. All I can do is abide by the truth principle and say, this is what I know and this is what I don't know. I know that my father, his friend Connie Chavez, McCone, I've heard Rumsfeld, in response to your question, Peter, I've heard of Rumsfeld spoken of as a Jesuit of the half robe, namely a Jesuit operative in politics. But I can't confirm that. All I know is that they were the adult Americans that I was interacting with, and there was a pretty profound and extensive Catholic Church connection to Project Pegasus. The Vatican had given the U.S. government the chronovisor technology that the Vatican musicologists Ernetti and Gemelli had been developing since the 1940s with Enrico Fermi. So there was a profound Catholic connection. Now, whether that went up into the darkest things that people have practiced under the cloak of Catholicism, I just don't know.